Hello, and welcome to Shrink, the podcast for the mind. I'm Philippe and I talk to the people who want to have a better understanding of their issues with weight and body image. Hi, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here. It's the first episode of this summer 2025. It has been a while since I last recorded an episode, and I regret it because I really enjoy sharing my thoughts with you. So today we are diving into something I think most of us are experiencing right now, but maybe not talking about enough: a deep and persistent tiredness. I mean, not the kind of tiredness you fix with a nap or a strong coffee. It's more the kind of tiredness that lingers even after a weekend off, for example. The kind that makes even small things feel like they're very hard. You wake up tired, you go through your day in a fog, you tell yourself you'll go to bed earlier tonight, but somehow you're still scrolling at midnight. Does it sound familiar? Well, it does sound familiar to me anyway. I call it the tiredness epidemic because it really feels like something we're collectively going through. And no, it's not just about not getting enough sleep. Because, let's be honest, we're plugged in all the time. From the moment we wake up, many of us check our phones before we even get out of bed. We scroll through emails, headlines, social media, messages. Our brains are hit with a rush of information before we even have a breakfast. That's already a full dose of cortisol because you've had your first coffee. So why are we so hooked on our phones? Why is it so hard to look away, even when we know it's draining us? And it's not only true for the younger generations. I mean, I see it all the time when I'm, let's say, on the bus or on the tube. I see people of all ages, men, women, literally glued to their phone. Our phones serve as a digital Swiss Army knife. They do everything. They tell the time, they connect us to work and friends, they give us news, mainly bad news lately, and they give us entertainment, they remind us of appointments, and they even help us relax. The problem is that this utility makes them hard to put down. What starts as checking the weather can quickly become a deep scroll into social media, or news headlines, and a message threads. It's never ending. At the core of this habit is our brain's dopamine system. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that creates feelings of pleasure and motivation, especially in anticipation of a reward. Every like, every comment or ping gives us a little dopamine hit. The unpredictability of these rewards, like a slot machine, makes them even more compelling. Our phones also act as a way to regulate emotions. Feeling bored, anxious, lonely, overwhelmed? Well, there is a video, a post, a meme, or a message that will help you escape the feeling. But when this becomes the default way we deal with our emotions, we miss the chance to actually process and resolve what we're feeling. We numb instead of soothe. We numb instead of soothe. I repeat this sentence because I really believe that that's a massive difference, and that takes a toll. Social media also taps into our fear of missing out, which is sometimes called FOMO. Seeing other people's curated lives can make us feel like we're falling behind or missing something important. It triggers comparison, self-doubt, and even more anxiety, which ironically drives us back to our phones for reassurance or escape. It's like never ending. Design features like infinite scroll, autoplay, and algorithmic suggestions keep us locked in. There is no natural stopping point. You never run out of content. So we stay longer than we intended. We don't consciously decide to keep scrolling. We just don't get a prompt to stop. And because we fill every empty moment with phone use, boredom, a state that once encouraged daydreaming, creativity and reflection, has all but vanished. Now, our minds rarely rest. We are always stimulated, always consuming. And God, it's exhausting. Despite being constantly connected, many people feel lonelier than ever. And that's because digital interaction is often shallow. It gives us fragments of connection, but not the real thing. We miss body language, voice tone, eye contact. We're wired for in-person connection, and when we don't get that, we feel more isolated. Our phones also blur the boundaries between work and rest. We are reachable at all hours. That always-on culture creates pressure and prevents us from truly relaxing. It contributes to perfectionism, burnout, and an underlying feeling that we are never doing enough. And physiologically, that's a difficult word for me, physiologically, phone use increases cortisol, the stress hormone, especially when we're consuming alarming news or confronting work tasks late at night. Many of us check our phones right before bed, in the middle of the night, and first thing in the morning. And this disrupts our sleep, increases fatigue, and sets us up for a stressful day. So yes, this tiredness epidemic is deeply linked to how we interact with our phones and the constant digital stimulation they provide. But now let's talk more about sleep, because it's a big one. Even if you're technically getting 7 or 8 hours, the quality of that sleep is often compromised. How many of us are looking at screens until the moment we fall asleep? Maybe you're lying in bed, lights off, but still checking messages or watching videos. Your brain is still processing stimulation. Blue light delays melatonin production, your thoughts are still racing with everything you've taken in. And sometimes we even wake up in the middle of the night and check our phones again. That's a huge disruption to our circadian rhythm. And poor sleep quality has ripple effects. It impacts everything: memory, mood, decision making, and, this is important, our ability to regulate emotions. When we're tired, everything feels harder. In fact, everything is harder. Our fuse is shorter. We get more irritable. We overreact. We zone out. And we lose the bandwidth to be present with people or to cope with daily stress in a healthy way. You might find yourself reacting to small setbacks, like missing the bus or forgetting a meeting invite, as if they were a major crisis. That's not just your personality. That's your nervous system saying, I'm maxed out. And there is another angle we often forget. I don't forget it because that's the thing that I, work with. But it's how tiredness affects how we eat. Our relationship with food is deeply connected to our energy levels and emotional state. When we're sleep deprived or emotionally drained, our bodies start craving quick fixes: sugar, caffeine, processed snacks. We're looking for fast energy to push through the day. That's why those 3 p.m. cravings are so real. It's not just hunger, it's fatigue. And then, of course, there is the mindless eating. How often do we eat in front of a screen? While scrolling, watching videos, working, or responding to emails. I do it too. I find myself eating whilst watching a movie on Netflix. When we eat distracted, our brain doesn't register the experience of eating. We miss cues for fullness. We don't enjoy the food. And then we're left feeling unsatisfied, sometimes overfull, and even more tired. There's also emotional eating. When we're tired, anxious, or overwhelmed, food can feel like a form of comfort, something familiar, a way to soothe ourselves. And while there is nothing inherently wrong with emotional eating, when it becomes the only tool we reach for, it can leave us feeling out of control or disconnected from our bodies. Here is a story I hear often. Someone gets home after a long day and they're too tired to cook. They're too wired to relax and not really hungry. But they find themselves standing in the kitchen, snacking out of the cupboard without really tasting anything. And then they feel guilty, frustrated, more tired, and the cycle repeats. Does it sound familiar to you? And no, I don't want to sound dramatic, but this is something I hear very often. I'm a psychotherapist specialized in helping people with weight issues, and I help them changing their eating patterns. And this is something I hear daily. This kind of tiredness becomes self-reinforcing. The more tired we feel, the more we lean on our habits that drain us even further. We stop moving our bodies, we isolate, we stop making time for the things that nourish us. Even small self-care acts start to feel too hard. But here is the good news. Awareness is powerful. Once we notice the patterns, we can start making small shifts. I always recommend small shifts. I think it's more useful to do small shifts than big changes. On the long term, it's more beneficial. So what can we do? Well, first, let's talk about boundaries with technology. And this doesn't mean quitting your phone or deleting every app. It means settling gentle, realistic boundaries. Maybe you create a 30-minute screen-free zone before bed. Maybe you charge your phone outside the bedroom. Maybe you start your morning without picking up your phone first thing. Talking about myself, for example, and almost never look at my phone when I'm in bed in the evening. And when the time to sleep has arrived, I turn it into airplane mode. In the morning, I have a coffee and I wait at least, I don't wait, but something like 15 or 30 minutes before I start looking at my phone. And it really works for me. It sets the night and the day in a mode which is not an addictive mode, which is not a mode where I'm addicted to my phone. You can also try taking one walk a day without any headphones, just you and your thoughts. Or carve out 10 minutes to sit quietly, drink your coffee without distraction, and just breathe. I know that's going to sound it sounds very basic and very easy, but believe me, it can be very demanding, very difficult for some of us. Eat one meal a day without screens, even if it's just a snack or a quick lunch. Notice how the food tastes, how your body feels, and what thoughts come up. Mindful eating isn't about perfection. It's about reconnecting. Also, notice your energy throughout the day. When do you feel most drained? What tends to help you feel better? Maybe you need rest, but maybe you need movement. Sometimes a 10-minute stretch or a walk can be more restorative than a nap or a scroll. And ask yourself regularly, what am I really needing right now? Am I looking for stimulation? Am I trying to escape something? Am I needing comfort, connection, rest? The more we can name our needs, the more we can choose actions that really support us. We are allowed to rest. We are allowed to disconnect. We are allowed to be tired without feeling guilty. This tiredness is not your fault. It's a symptom of a world that doesn't pause. But you can. These are just a few tips. And I know it's not easy to change habits that we've had for years sometimes with just a few tips. And it takes time to change these habits. So don't be too harsh on yourself and take the time you need to find the right distance between you and your phone and reconnect with yourself. Thanks for spending time with me. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it, subscribe, or leave a review. And most importantly, be gentle with yourself. You're not lazy, You're not broken, you're simply tired, and you deserve rest. Until next time, take care and rest well.